Hey folks, welcome back to Wild West BBQ. Today's video is going to be a little different than most. I don't have a cook plan for today. I had every intention of cooking this weekend, but during the week I completely spaced out and forgot to get the meat out of the freezer. So there's nothing out to cook this weekend, so obviously I'm not going to cook anything because it's all frozen. So I've had this video idea in the back of my head for a while. I've kind of been keeping it on the back burner until something like this happened. Today I'm going to go over some of the technology I use when I'm smoking and some of the really minor upgrades / modifications I made to my 18.5-inch Weber Smoky Mountain. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with the technology first. The first piece I use is just a simple instant digital read thermometer. This is just a cheap $10 one I picked up at Lowe's or Home Depot. Thermopin is the king in this field, but I don't have one because they're around $90. I haven't seen the need to spend that kind of money for an instant read thermometer when the $10 one works just fine for me, but they are the standard in the field. The next piece of technology is the one that really upped my smoking game. It's a simple product called the iGrill. It looks like this. This is the iGrill Mini. It's a remote probe system. You have probes that will just connect into it like this, and then this transmits to your phone, and you can get either a temperature of your meat or your ambient temperature on your grill grate from your phone. That was a real big help to me because I didn't have to get up to go check the smoker all the time. If I had a piece of meat I was wanting to cook like a steak, I could insert a probe into that and figure out the internal temperature really easily without poking it a bunch of times and letting all the juices leak out. I did eventually upgrade to the Weber iGrill 2. It's this one here. It's very similar to the iGrill Mini, except it's got room for 4 different probes instead of 1 probe, and it's got a display on the front that will show you the different temperatures of your different probes. Weber does sell an ambient temperature probe. It looks like this. It's got a squared off end here, as opposed to the meat probes like this one, which are pointed on the end. If you buy the ambient probe, you get a little clip. The probe passes through the holes in the clip, and this will clip onto your grill grate and hold it in place. I didn't have that for a number of years. For a number of years, I simply used a meat probe as an ambient temperature probe. I had found this old clip from somewhere, I don't remember where, but it worked out just fine. The probe passed right through it. It was just the right diameter for that probe. So I was able to clip that to my grill grate, so I didn't have to worry about my probe falling through the grate. If you don't have something like that, you can take a wine cork and drill a hole through the wine cork and put your probe through that to keep it falling through. Or you could go a really simple route, cut the end of a potato off, and then stick your probe through that, and the potato's going to hold it on the grate just fine. So that's pretty much all the tech I use. There are automatic temperature controllers out there, ATCs. I personally haven't ever felt the need for that, mainly because managing the fire is what I really enjoy, and the automatic temperature controllers take that away. So since I enjoy managing the fire, I never saw a need for one, and they're also kind of pricey. You can expect to spend $200-ish for those. And I just have never felt the need for it. The Weber iGrill Mini is going to run you about $30, and the iGrill 2, which has since been replaced by the iGrill 3, is around $80. That's pretty much all the tech I use. I'm going to get into the few upgrades I've done. Not really upgrades. They all pertain to the water pan on my 18.5-inch Weber Smoky Mountain. When I first got the smoker over a decade ago, I used water in the pan like Weber recommends, and for the first few cooks that worked out great. And then after the first few cooks, I started struggling to get my temperatures up, because what happens with most WSMs, as you use them, they get seasoned. And when they get seasoned, some of those gaps where the middle section and the lid fit, they get gunked up and they let less air get in, which means your fire is not burning as hot. And that's totally normal. It's no big deal. But after the first few cooks, when I started to get seasoned, I started to struggle to get temperatures up above 250. And so I realized that the water in the pan was probably not helping with that, so I switched to a dry foiled pan. And I put foil across the pan for the simple reason it helps in cleanup. instead of having the grease from all that meat fall into the water pan, which I had to go and clean up, it hits the foil, and all I have to do is throw that foil away when I'm done. Crumple it up and toss it in the trash can, and that's all the cleanup I have to do. That worked on short cooks. I was doing something like ribs. It worked out real well for that. But I found on long cooks like pork butt and brisket, I was still having trouble getting high temps. And so I started thinking about why was that, and it turns out it had to do with the way the water pan is designed and the way I was building my fire for those long cooks. For those long cooks, I filled the charcoal ring completely up with charcoal, and then I'd light a full charcoal chimney of lit charcoal, put it on top, and then assemble the smoker. Well, the water pan was so deep that when I assembled the smoker, the water pan was sitting on top of my lit coals, and of course was stuffing them out. And it took me an embarrassingly long time to realize that. But once I did, I started looking for alternatives, and I came up with the clay saucer, which is just something like this. Just a simple saucer made from clay. It's terracotta. It's the bottom of a pot. You go and buy those terracotta pots to put plants in. That's the base of the water collection when you water your plant. I picked it up at Home Depot. I did look at Lowe's. When I bought that 6 or 7 years ago here in Kansas City, the Lowe's in my area didn't carry terracotta saucers. They had plastic saucers, which I didn't want. But I found the terracotta at Home Depot. I don't know if your Lowe's is going to be similar or if it's still even the case here in Kansas City. But if you're having trouble finding one, I would suggest checking out Home Depot. And that one I still foiled with foil when I put it in. That way I didn't have to clean that out, because obviously it's got a bit of a lip to it here. So I kept foiling that and just crumpling up the foil and throwing it away when I was done. And I have since made an upgrade from that. I was tired of covering it in foil. I found out about a product called a fire dial, and I switched to that, and I have to say I absolutely love it. The fire dial is simply a round piece of sheet, not very thick obviously. I don't know the gauge, but it's hardly thick at all. It just sits in the same place as your water pan and acts as a heat deflector. And with this in there, I have noticed immense improvements in my 18.5-inch rubber Smoky Mountain. So I am able to hold 275 easily. It's absolutely wonderful, but it's leading to me having to almost relearn how to cook on it, because I have to use less lit charcoal at the beginning. I'm used to using a full charcoal chimney of charcoal. Now I probably need maybe a third of a chimney of charcoal. But the fire dial has been absolutely game changing. I am planning on getting one for my 14.5-inch. I doubt I'll get one for the 22.5-inch though. Every WSM runs a little bit different. My 18.5-inch runs cold. That's why I was having problems initially getting those temps up. I haven't used the 22.5-inch a whole lot yet. I've got 5 or 6 cooks in on it, but from what I've seen so far, it tends to run hot. And since that's the case, I have no need for a fire dial on that smoker. I don't need to get my temps up. It's already running as hot as I need it to. But that's about it. That's really the only changes I made to my smokers. The 14.5-inch, 22.5-inch, I run with a dry foiled pan. I've never used water in either of those smokers, simply because I bought them after I'd become accustomed to that with the 18, and that's what I was used to, so that's what I stuck with. But I'm not a real big tech guy. I just buy what I think I need and go with it. So that's all I got for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please share it. That helps new viewers find the channel. Please subscribe if you're liking the content. Until next time, guys, I'll be back next week, hopefully with a smoke. So see you next time.